Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this Monday's edition of The Rundown, where we promise to bring you 2A views and conservative news. My name is Mike Poworski. I will be your host today from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most. And listen, before I hand it off to my co-host, I would say that it was my vote to stay home this week and enjoy some vacation time. But Craig said because he's in California and they have slave wages there for all the immigrants that we had to continue to work. So, hey, everybody, please say hello to my co-host, Craig DeLuz.
Thank you, Mike, for throwing me under the bus. I said no such thing, by the way. He thinks he's funny. But, here's the thing. There's too much stuff happening, and, we have to be on. Here's the thing. It's because, Mike, I could not be without chopping it up with you every afternoon, just having a good time. I always enjoy it. So I don't really see this as work. But then again, what do I know? I'm a political junkie. But anyway, my name is Craig DeLuz. I'm coming at you from the left coast, the West Coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And as Mike said, we're going to bring you 2A news with some conservative views. Well, there's a lot to talk about going into the post-Christmas Manic Monday.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a slow news week, and it's turning into anything but. And yeah, listen, like Triumph the comic dog says, I kid. Craig and I both wanted to be here to do this, so we were. Just
oh yeah. So, Mikey, was Santa good to you?
Santa baby, yeah. Listen, by some weird circumstance, we got visited by Santa Anna, and we had to fight him off. It was weird.
Santa Anna.
Yeah.
Wrong Santa, huh?
Yeah,
wasn't Santa Claus. It was Santa Anna.
Yeah, Santa Anna came down out of the chimney, and we had to shoot him. So it was great. So,
no, we had a very, very good Christmas. Family got together, and to me, that's 90% of Christmas is just the family getting together, eating, drinking, having a good time, and the spirit of giving.
Yeah, listen, I'm there with you. I went to work and gave somebody their walking papers too. So I was like, oh, yeah, you got a job, you didn't do it. So no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's never any fun. Well, sometimes it is, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely joking there. Yeah, no, it was great. How's the weather? I'm curious because I saw afternoon from Seattle to San Diego, snow is expected.
It is, it's been raining off and on. It's been kind of weird because 1 minute you'll have some sunny skies and freezing cold, and then the next minute it will be raining and freezing cold. We're looking at probably rain pretty much most of this week, and it'll okay. Once again, our highs are going to be in the mid 40s, which is oddly cold for Sacramento. Right. Not that we never get that kind of weather. It's just usually we don't get like weeks of it while it's raining. Usually when it's raining, it's at least up into the 50s.
Yep. Next up, mudslides. Yep.
The mud's going to be frozen.
Yeah, so that's called a glacial movement, right? You're going to get an avalanche.
Experiencing glacial movements in Sacramento. There you go. It. You heard it here first, folks.
Mud. Oh, boy.
All right, well, Michael, Craig, let's get into the news.
Yep, let's do it. Let's do it today. Listen, we I don't know if you saw this vice president. Let's just call her that. I guess I was going to go with a different word, but the chances are we could get suspended if I use those words. So let's say the vice president today. I guess it was over this past weekend. She had a little interview, Craig, and evidently she is an expert on national security. And she was able to identify what the largest threat to national security was.
What do you see as the biggest national security challenge confronting the U.S.? What is the thing that worries you and keeps you up at night?
Frankly, one of them is our democracy. And that I can talk about because that's not classified. It really does. There is, I think, no question in the minds of people who are foreign policy experts that the year 2021 is not the year 2000. I think there's so much about foreign and domestic policy that, for example, was guided and prioritized based on September 11th, 2001. And we are embarking on a new era where the threats to our nation take many forms, including the threat of autocracies taking over and having outsized influence around the world. And so I go back to our point about the need to fight for the integrity of our democracy.
What was she talking about there, Mike?
Craig, I don't even know what to say about this broad anymore, other than she needs to take a long walk on a short pier. She needs to hang out with Jeffrey Epstein. You know what I'm saying? This is she is an idiot. Is about it. I don't know if you've ever taken any kinesiology, Craig. It's the study of the body actions and motions and everything like that. And when she starts to talk and she starts doing this and she continues to shake her head, yes, it's a clear sign. And you have to establish a pattern ahead of time. It's not just a one-time thing. But having watched her so many times now, when she starts to shake her head and do this little thing where she's trying to, unconsciously, subconsciously give you the yes signal, it means she doesn't even believe it. She's just trying to convince you that it's it. And that's what she says when she says, yes, it's democracy. It's democracy. Because she knows you don't believe her. But she
what it
continues
tells
to
me
do
is
this
she doesn't
to try and give you the positive that
Right.
yes, that it is. That's what it is.
Well,
That's
she's
what it
trying to
is.
convince you, but honestly, I don't think she knew what the answer to the question was, and she just started talking, and whatever came to her mind is exactly what wound up coming out of her mouth. She started off, well, it's our democracy. Well, what does that mean? And that whole thing about most of our foreign policy being set up based on 9/11 and yada, yada, yada was all dribble coming out of her mouth till she could get to what it was that she was hopefully she was hoping would be a coherent thought. And that was this autocracy, a small number of people out having a disproportionate control over the world. And Mike, is that or is that not what we have right now? We have basically the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, who is less than a third of active Democrats, controlling so many aspects of our government right now.
Hence my jab Epstein comment earlier when talking about her. That's exactly where it stems from. She started this. She started this, Craig, and I think once she realized she was into it, there was no backing out. So she tried to commit to it. She is just she's an idiot. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. It's just we got who's meditating asleep at the wheel and idiots sitting in the back seat here. So that's definitely the path to driving off the cliff, right? And that's where we are with these two.
I just don't know what to even say to say the very thing that quote unquote we're supposed to be talking about. I mean, democracy. In other words, what she's saying is that the people's ability to choose their government and those who govern them is a national security threat. Am I misreading this?
Yeah. There's I don't remember where it came from. It was before the world of memes, so it had to be somebody made a little sample video or something. When George W. Bush was elected again, he ran against Kerry. Remember John Kerry? And George Bush got on stage and he kept saying nuclear, saying it the way it's pronounced in his region of the country. It's just the way certain words are pronounced, they're pronounced differently across the country. It may not be proper, but say that. Hey, Craig, what's the place where you read all the books at the public place?
The library,
right? Or as it's called in the East, a library, because it's just the way it's pronounced. All right, regionally. So he says nuclear, and Kerry gets up there and makes the face like, I can't believe I'm losing to this guy, right? Well. Because he doesn't understand it, right? He doesn't understand that the rest of the country sees this guy as a homely, folksy kind of guy. Well,
right.
It's the same thing, going on with these two. I'm like, I can't believe the rest of the country has fallen for these two idiots. I really can't. Right. I can't believe that it's happened. And she gets up there and they're going to make her out to be the most, prolific political speaker ever because she challenged, democracy. And all she really did was say the wrong word to start with and then try to cover it up.
Yeah. Most of it. I'm telling you, it is scary, but the problem is this is the way they think. And here's the thing, this is what she really revealed was that the people and the people that they selected to be in office won't go along with what we want them to do. Therefore, they are a national security threat. That's
Yes.
what she meant.
That's some Eric Swalwell kind of stuff right there, right?
Right. Because clearly,
Yeah.
the fact that the American people clearly want what it is or should get what it is that they want. That's their attitude. They're smarter than the rest of us. They're brighter
Yeah.
than the rest of us. They know more. So therefore, we should just thank them for doing whatever it is for trying to do whatever it is that they want to do, and let them do it because, they are well intentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. And like I said,
Well, hey,
the
we spent enough
Swalwell
time on
comment,
that
he
one.
said
Let's
he's
move on
gonna
to our
take-
next story, and I'll go ahead and take the lead on this one. We all know that, anyone who does not believe that Democrats are the anti-gun party, it is literally part of their platform, is not being honest with themselves. They're not being intellectually honest. Well, there is a case right now that's going on. This is actually in Illinois, where a state senator, a Democratic state senator, her name is Senator Kimberly Lightford. And I did not say Lightfoot, Mike. But Kimberly
Now you did.
Lightford was,
Now
her
you did.
and her husband were being carjacked. And it turns out that her hubby has a concealed carry permit. And let's just say after some rounds were exchanged, although nobody actually was injured or got shot, they were able to fight off or chase away these carjackers with a concealed carry permit. Now, Mike, one has to wonder, doesn't this kind of put a big fat hole in the argument of the anti-gunners there in Chicago?
Well, Craig, you have to remember, right, that the rules don't apply to everybody. This is clearly some George Orwell stuff, right? Some pigs are more equal than others. When the Democrats say, we don't want you to have guns, they mean you, not them. They mean all the little Democrats below them, because all the Democrats below them are not smart enough or well-educated enough or responsible enough to carry firearms. Only the elite should be allowed to have them. And that's exactly what's happened here.
You know that I'm smiling because I don't think I could have. I mean, if we were playing t-ball and I just set the ball right there on the tee, was it right there on the tee, that I could have given you any better of a pitch.
It's out of here. It's out of here. He clears the bases.
There you go. That's as close as I'm going to get to a baseball reference. A t-ball reference.
There you go.
But dude, you're 100%
I'll
right.
take it.
The thing is that she doesn't. Democrats will not see this as hey, people should be allowed to carry guns. What's going to be is, clearly we are the elite Democrats and we know better than all of you. Therefore, yes, we ought to be able to carry firearms. But you lowly peasants, you unwashed masses, especially those of you who voted for Donald Trump, you should never be allowed to look at a firearm. Otherwise, World War III could break out and we could see an armed revolution taking place. And that's literally their attitude, right? They literally just believe that we are incapable, the little people are incapable of actually owning firearms. And the funny part is, with her being African-American, being black, it's funny because when you think about most gun control laws, they were written to keep those people of color, people like her, from being able to own and possess firearms.
Yeah, well, exactly right, Craig. But that's it doesn't matter anymore because now she's a member of the ruling class, so it's
Right.
okay. They've made the exceptions. Yeah.
She's one of those trusted people.
Well, according to their own inner circle, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
according to their own inner circle. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. But that just goes to show you once again what they think about us, in particular about conservatives. Let me move this one over here. So going on to our next story, and this kind of leads into what we were talking about before, once again, about what do they think about us. Mainstream media would have you believe that the lion's share of the people out there who are unvaccinated or who are not getting the vaccine are right-wing conservatives. Kind of like Mike. Right, old crotchety white guys who are right wing conservatives. Hold on, wait. Go ahead, flex your wing. Your right wing. There you go. He's flexing his right wing. But the reality is actually something very different. So they've done a new study, a new poll, and this was done by the Daily Mail. And they've come to find out that it's actually young people who think COVID only possesses a risk for the elderly, right? In other words, the people who are largely unvaccinated are people who are following the science. Now, mind you, I'll be the first to tell you, no, it's not only the elderly who are at risk. Obviously, it's people with pre-existing conditions, with comorbidities. But let's be real. Disproportionately, those people include those who are the elderly. And if you look at the number of people who've died proportionately, overwhelmingly, it is older folks, right? People who have weaker immune systems. I mean, Mike, look at this and tell me these are not young people who are actually just following the science.
Yeah, young people following the science, except this is the only people that follow the science when the science is convenient for them, when the science is what they want to hear. Frankly, anything that comes out of NIH or CDC or the, Fauci's little organization up there for immunodeficiencies. But never again. I'll never again believe anything that any of them ever say. They're on fire, and they would, and reporting that they're on fire, and I wouldn't believe them. It's done. And I think that this group of individuals that are not getting the vax, it's because they heard the elderly portion, they heard the one aspect of the science of this, and they've decided to lock on to that because they don't want to vax. They don't want to bother with it because we're young, we're indestructible, and that's the reason why. If it had been the opposite, Craig, they would have found a reason still not to do it. This is the hopefully youthful and ignorant is what I would call them.
Well, okay. So while I don't disagree with you, I think the numbers though are on their side in terms of that argument.
Yeah, and this is again. Let's go back to a reporting issue. Who's
Right.
who's the one that's writing these numbers down? Who's the one that's doing this poll?
Right.
I mean, if this poll tells me that college aged youth, not that they're in college, just call them that college aged youth are not getting vaccinated. Where are they doing those recruiting? What kind of campuses are they doing on? Where's this go? Show me the stats. Show me the numbers on any poll where it was taken.
Right.
Otherwise, if you're telling me it was 500 people, phone numbers you called up outside of Columbia, Maryland, I guess what? I don't care.
Well,
this is nice. It's a great little story. It means I wouldn't mind doing a little more investigating on it myself. But as for now, I will take your word for it, because if you're doing the story, Craig, it tells me that you've done the research.
Yeah.
So it must have some validity to it. So I would say that. Okay.
Well, but here's the thing: even amongst young people, the majority have gotten vaccinated. It's not as high a percentage of young people as, say, older people. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
Yes.
Once again, the story is from the bent of, the unvaccinated are
Yes.
the unvaccinated are actually not a huge percentage of the people out there. It really is.
Right. And I would think it's very, very close along a 50-50, when it comes to politics.
And then when you start to include the unvaccinated who actually got COVID,
yeah.
then we're talking an even smaller percentage, because and probably we're not on YouTube right now, at least not on our channel. But we all know that if you got COVID, you've developed some of you've gotten the antibodies, which arguably are stronger and better than getting the vaccine.
Yep.
So.
Yes, very much so. If I don't know, that's what you think. I mean,
Well, I'm telling you what the data. And once again, I look at data from a number of different places, not just the data we get here in the United States, but I look at international data. And once again, the stuff that seems consistent across the board is the stuff that I generally tend to lean on.
Let me ask you this. Do you think in the world itself, more people are vaccinated or more people are unvaccinated?
I would probably say unvaccinated.
So why aren't the oceans flowing with these dead bodies from this pandemic?
Well, because yet and still, even amongst all of that, the overall 98% on average of the people that we know had COVID are going to survive. Now, that number is probably even higher because there are a lot of people who've had COVID that we don't know, that did know that they had COVID. They thought they had a cold or something like that. So, yeah, that's probably why.
Well, 2% of 4 billion is still 200 million. I haven't seen that many bodies yet. I haven't seen anywhere near that amount. So
not everyone's, because that's the other thing. Not everyone's had it.
Yeah, very true. But that's not what we're being told, right?
Right. Well, right now, what you're seeing in terms of the increases, they're talking, at least in the United States, 73 to 75% of all the new infections are the Omicron variant, which is so mild it's been nicknamed Omicold.
I actually saw a story earlier today, Craig, that says it's two different things now. The Omicron variant and Omicold are two different things. Again, more media hype to make you believe that because you get the Omicold, which is the Omicron variant, it's still not the Omicron variant, which could kill you. So get your vaccine, wear your mask. And listen, I'm not trying to, folks, I'm not trying to debate with Craig on this. We both pretty much agree down the line on this.
Mm-hmm.
The point I'm trying to make, as I make with any of these stories, is there is no longer any believable news source, research agency, polling, anything whatsoever from private organizations to government organizations on COVID. It's lost. It's gone.
It's because, quite frankly, they're more interested in advocating a position than reporting the news. And by the way, folks, just so you know, it's not just on Omicron. It's not just on COVID-19. In so many different areas, once reliable media sources who used to report the news are now part of the news, and they're part of the story, and they're pushing an agenda. And that it makes it hard to believe anybody.
There's no longer any viable, any reliable, any source whatsoever. Listen, I'll give you the ridiculousness of that. I have to go to an event later this week, right? And you must have a COVID test. Although they're telling you right now, the COVID tests, if you've been exposed anytime in the past 3 months, not even been infected, exposed anytime in the last 3 months, the test will show that you're probably positive because your body gets a certain level of antibodies from that. Even though you might have had it, and you're going to show positive, which is why we have this incredible positive rate and nobody's doing anything different and nobody's left work and nobody's left school or anything along those lines. But here's the ridiculous part, Greg. If I tell them I've been vaccinated, COVID test, I'm okay.
Wait, if you tell them you've been vaccinated,
yes,
then you don't have to take a test?
I don't have to take a test and I don't have to show proof of vaccination.
Well, and here's what's odd, because information that's out there that we've seen is said that, in particular with Omicron, whether you're vaccinated or not, you're just as likely to get it and you're just as likely to spread it.
Yep.
So if the big increase is of Omicron and the vaccine can't prevent the spread, then why? First of all, number one, why are we mandating vaccines? But then secondly, why are we not testing everybody?
Well, and that's what you listen. We're not testing everybody, but It's like everybody's getting tested. And you go every day down here. I know we've got them in our city. They're all over the country, the testing centers, and people are going to the testing centers, not because they have the COVID, not because they need the test, but because they want to know. I have to know if I'm going to die. I have to know if I'm going to be one of the people that buy this and die. The positive rate now is no longer accurate. Again, the science, the recent science says, because the COVID has become so widespread, which is the same type of thing that happens with the flu every year. Just think of this in your brain, folks. As the flu, it spreads across the country. People either get it or they don't. The people that don't get it, it's not because they isolated themselves and wore a mask. It's because they have some level of immunities and a stronger immune system, and their body fights that. It hits them in the face, and the body goes, "No, I'm fighting it back." So they have those antibodies at work in their body. Anytime you get that test now, those antibodies are triggering the test to be positive up to 90 days after your exposure. So the absolute testing rate is completely false.
Well, my question is, why are we not just, testing for the antibodies to see if people already have the immunity?
because that test doesn't exist. You can't create that test and put it in the home market.
Well, there you go. That's the problem, is you can't put it in
Right.
the home market.
Yes.
Okay. Enough on Omicron. Let's talk about Let's talk about Brandon from Let's Go Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. Right here. Let's go, Brandon. Right here. Look, there's. There. Let's go, Brandon. This is Brandon Brown, NASCAR driver, won the Talladega, right, at the Super Speedway, right?
Yep.
And was being interviewed by what was his last name, Craig? It was
Kelly Stavast.
Stavak, right? Stavak, yeah.
Stavast.
And Kelly, everybody knows the story by now. Listen, the crowd was chanting F Joe Biden. She said, "Oh, it's go Brandon." Went from there. Well, this guy has either lost his sponsors or cannot gain any more sponsors. The sponsors are so scared now of being associated with Let's Go Brandon that this guy's lost his job. Now, I will say this: NASCAR, Southern NASCAR, the NASCAR organization, has turned out to be one of the most liberal organizations in the country. They've completely pushed back against all things American and mom and apple pie and Budweiser and Chevrolet and all that nonsense. That NASCAR has turned their backs on America, basically. So here's the deal: and no sponsor will go forward because NASCAR is also putting that pressure against those sponsors to stay away from Brandon because they don't want Let's Go Brandon out there in their tracks. Although anytime you go to a NASCAR race, that's all you get the whole time, start to finish. Let's go, Brandon. So this poor guy, he needs some sponsors. And listen, the Rundown, Arms Room Radio, don't have enough money to sponsor him. Plenty of people out there. So,
Well, Mike,
sponsors.
here's the thing. He has said that actually NASCAR has actually been supportive of him. He said the only thing that he's done or said anything political is he's like, look, he has admitted, and it's funny the way the story puts this, he admitted that he was a Republican. Like, that's some sort of dirty secret. How dare you be a Republican? But he doesn't talk anything political or anything like that. It's kind of funny because even in the article, they make it sound like he's the one who started it. And it wasn't him who started it. It was that Kelly Stavast. She's the one who made the mistake. And like I said, like we know now it's taken off. He has said that he has lost sponsors. He's trying to get some of them back. He hasn't announced who all of his sponsors are, so he still has some, but almost not enough for him to be able to continue. So it's just crazy because you have no problem. They have no problem with canceling people if they're on the right, but if they're on the left, then no, we can't do that. We can't do that. We can't involve politics and whatever the sport or what that is. We can't cancel them for standing up for what they believe in. And this is a guy who, once again, isn't standing up for what he believes in. All he said was he's a Republican. And that's it. That's really the only thing that they've got on him. And now he's having a very hard time getting sponsors in order to be able to maintain a living.
Let me say this too about NASCAR because you gave him a little tap on the back there. NASCAR's assistance to Brandon Brown has been the same assistance they to the driver. It's kind of like a profit sharing thing, like you see in baseball with the salary cap. If more than one spends more than the other, then we help spread the profit around. Well, it's the same thing. Brandon gets a certain amount of stipend from NASCAR itself to maintain certain standards. So it's not like NASCAR went out of the way to help him. He's getting the thing that every other driver gets.
Oh, no. No, completely agree. Agree. What I find is interesting, once again, about this whole thing is that they only seem, or corporations, and that's really what it comes down to, is these corporations who do these sponsorships only seem to have a problem if you express an opinion that is on the right. If you express an opinion that's on the left, they have no problem with it. That's social justice.
Yep, absolutely right.
All right, Mikey. Well, hey, let's move on to our next story. And being the military man that you are, I figured it would be more appropriate for you to introduce this story.
Listen, this one was just worth mentioning, whether you know their name or not. If you don't, it's we get it. Richard Marchenko was, I'd like to say he lived a life obscurity, but he was a SEAL, and while a SEAL, he did live a life in obscurity to create what we know now as SEAL Team 6. He was the first commanding officer of SEAL Team 6, and while as a SEAL, nobody knew who this guy was. After he retired from the military, then he went on to do a lot of. He did some tactical training, wrote a lot of books. He did the Rogue Warrior. He became an icon for military members and special operators around the world. So from obscurity to popularity is where he went, and hopefully you know about him and do some research. I'll say this: SEALs, are an incredible fighting force. Old school frogmen, UDT guys from World War II that eventually became SEALs and got their teeth cut in flesh and blood in Vietnam. He was there with them as a junior officer and a SEAL team leader. He was at SEAL Team 2 back then. And these are just like you see on the TV show. I mean, it doesn't happen quite as quick, but they travel around the world, take care of problems for the government, and make things happen without ever being known who they are. SEAL Team 6 is the elite of the elite with the Navy. And he was the commander and founder of SEAL Team 6. In fact, a little known tidbit of trivia, I guess, would be is they didn't have 6 teams, but when they named it 6. So if the Russians ever got a hold of any intel, they would think we had a lot more of them than we did. So just kind of the way that the counterinsurgency program was working back then. Wow. But again, founder of SEAL Team 6, not of the SEAL program, but of SEAL Team 6. Took them to that next level operator, that tier 1 operator level. And again, a very well-known author in the military community, passed away, 81 years old on this Christmas. So, fair winds and smooth sailing.
My hat's off to you, sir. Thank you so much for the sacrifice for all that you've done for our country, and to all of our men and women who serve in the military. Those who put themselves on the front line to protect our liberty and freedom. Thank you so very much.
There you go. That's how you say it, Craig. All right, let's before we hit our parting shot, let's talk about our sponsors real quick. We got our good friends from Gorilla Machining from Grid Defense, who will both be joining us at a SHOT Show in just about 3 weeks here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And then our good friends, of course, from the California Republican Assembly. Make sure you reach out to all 3 of them and give their thanks and support to them.
Most definitely. Please make sure that y'all do that. Phenomenal organizations and companies provide a phenomenal product. Make sure you guys patronize them, support them as they support us. So please go ahead, check them out. Their links are in the description to this video. All right, you guys, I'm sure if you watch this show, I know that you have heard about this. But we figured that you might actually want to see it. And this is of the Let's Go Brandon type story. And just so you know, for those of you on the left who think that this is a derogatory term, just so you know, the president agrees with us.
Well, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas.
Well, yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas as well. Merry Christmas, and let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. I agree. Hey, buddy. Well, I hope you have a...
Let's go, Brandon. I agree. So just so y'all know, yes, he agrees with Let's Go, Brandon. Although I think there's an ulterior motive as to why he agrees. See, everyone thinks his name is Brandon, and they want to sleep with him.
Let's go, Brandon. Come on, Brandon. Let's go. Boy.
I'm getting lucky tonight.
Yeah, you can see the first lady's expression on her face when this guy says it. She just goes, like, can we not get somebody to screen these callers a little bit better?
And I'm pretty sure. And the guy, they did an interview with him later, and he said, "Look, it was literally just a joke." He probably didn't even think twice about it. It probably did not mean. Me personally, if I have a chance to speak to the president of the United States, I'm not going to be disrespectful. I don't care who the president is. You respect the office. Having said that, that was hilarious.
I don't know. What would you say to him if you had 5 seconds to say something to him? What would you say to him?
Well, first of all, I would know that I would have an opportunity to say something. My first thing would be, Mr. President, it's time for you to retire.
Listen, he didn't know. This guy didn't know. He called in a Santa Claus line so his daughter could listen to the NORAD update.
Oh, snap.
And the operator came on and said, "Would you like to one moment to speak to the president?" And that's what
wow.
happened.
I did not know that. Yeah, no.
That's what happened. This wasn't no called in planned thing. He literally called into this line to get this, with his daughter. And when they put him on, that's when that's when he said, that's it. And trust me, as a guy who's been in the room and somebody puts the phone in front of your face and it's the president, you've got 5 seconds to say what you want to say. You better hope you keep your damn foot out of your mouth, because it could happen. It can happen. So
yeah. Okay. Then I will I will cut him some slack. I'm just hoping for his sake that people don't find out who he is.
Oh, listen, he's already been getting threats and everything like that. Yeah, because they didn't realize it was going to be that big a deal. But
but that's the thing is, I'm sorry, not liking the president. Once again, I don't recall Robert De Niro, who literally said F Donald. He didn't literally. He used the word Donald Trump, and I don't recall him getting any death threats or anything like that.
Well, he's got armed guards with guns that protect him.
Right. Point well made. Point well made. Anyway, folks, that's going to be it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Manic Monday. We will be back tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. You guys take care, enjoy, and we will talk to you again tomorrow. Please remember, like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Encourage your friends to do the same.